In a land where fear ruled louder than the truth, where silence was safer than a heartbeat, one woman dared to stand against the storm. The Jasmine in the Desert, a tale not just of pain but of power, of a mother's love that defied cruelty and a daughter's cry that awakened a sleeping people. You're listening to Naratide Ug, where stories are more than words. They are voices that never die. Tonight we journey into the burning sands of Al-Zahirah to witness the rise of courage and the fall of fear. The sun burned over the golden sands of Al-Zahirah, a land where fear was law and silence was survival. Its people bowed to one man, Emir Rashid al-Karim, the richest lord in all the desert realms. His palaces shone with marble and gold, his stables brimmed with horses bred for kings. Yet his heart was darker than the coal buried beneath the dunes. They called him the generous, though he never gave without taking something first. They called him the rightly guided, though his path was carved in pain. For years he sought an heir, a son who would inherit his empire of cruelty. But no woman in Al-Zahirah dared look at him twice. They had seen too many husbands vanish into the mines beneath his mansion, too many wives return with bruised faces and empty eyes. So, one night, under a crescent moon, he took what he wanted. He sent his guards into the poor quarter of the city, a place where children went to bed hungry and hope had forgotten the streets. There they found Layla, the daughter of an old widow, Amira, who sold woven baskets by the roadside. Layla was young, gentle, and beautiful in the way light touches still water, softly, without asking to be seen. When Rashid saw her, he smiled, that terrible, cold smile that made even his soldiers tremble. "She will be my wife," he said, as though her life were a trinket to be purchased. They dragged her from her mother's arms as Amira screamed until her voice broke. No one dared stop them. Not one hand rose in protest. Layla was taken to Rashid's grand mansion of white stone and silent slaves. There, in a hollow ceremony under gold chandeliers, she was wedded to him. Amira was not invited. Only later did she receive a small pouch of gold tossed to her doorstep like payment for a lost goat. The days that followed were long, cruel, and unending. Rashid's heart was a forge of wrath, and Layla became his anvil. Each morning she was adorned like a jewel, and each night she was treated like dust. He wanted a child, no, a son, and when her womb stayed silent, his temper roared. "You useless creature," he would spit. "Even the camels bear young faster than you." He made her kneel in the cold courtyards till her knees bled. The servants watched, but never spoke. In Al-Zahirah, silence was safer than mercy. 8 moons passed. 8 moons of torment, prayers, and tears that soaked the marble floors. Then one morning, as the sun crawled up the horizon, Layla felt the first flutter of life inside her. She was with child. When Rashid heard, the desert itself seemed to sigh in relief, for even cruelty rests when it gets what it wants. He became a different man overnight. He brought Amira to the mansion, showering her with gifts, silks, spices, gold coins she had never touched in her lifetime. "You are the mother of my beloved," he said with false sweetness. "You will never starve again." He sent feasts to the villagers, slaughtered sheep for the poor, and promised freedom to those who praised his name. The people, starved of kindness, began to whisper, "Perhaps the Emir has changed." But evil never changes. It only sleeps until disappointment wakes it. The day came. The cries of childbirth filled the mansion. Rashid paced outside like a lion waiting to taste its kill. When the midwife finally stepped out, trembling, she carried not the proud smile of good news, only fear. "It is a girl," she whispered. The words struck him like thunder. "A girl." He stormed into the chamber. Layla, drenched in sweat and tears, held the tiny infant close to her chest, a fragile blossom wrapped in white linen. Rashid's eyes burned red. "You dare give me this curse?" he roared. "I wanted a son, Not a weak, worthless girl, Layla begged through her exhaustion. Please, my lord, she is your blood, your daughter. He slapped her so hard the child nearly slipped from her arms. That thing will not carry my name, he snarled. He reached for a dagger from his belt. I will end this shame before dawn. Layla froze. Her heart raced. The world shrank to the glint of steel and the soft whimper of the newborn. Then something inside her broke. Or perhaps it awoke. As he raised the dagger, she grabbed a nearby brick, a piece of fallen wall from the old courtyard repairs, and struck him square in the temple. The sound echoed through the hall like judgment itself. Rashid collapsed. The dagger clattered to the floor. Layla did not wait to see if he would rise. She wrapped her baby tight against her chest and fled into the night. The desert wind bit her skin and her bare feet bled against the sand. But she ran, through dunes and darkness, through the weight of fear and the breath of freedom. By dawn, she reached her mother's home. Amira opened the door and saw her, pale, trembling, clutching a child. Layla, oh my child, what have you done? I saved her, mother, she whispered. I saved us. But the peace lasted only hours. Rashid's guards found the trail of her escape. By noon, his voice thundered through Al-Zahirah again. Bring me the woman and the child, or face my wrath. The villagers gathered, terrified. Some whispered, we should give her up, or we all die. Amira stood before them, her old frame shaking, but her eyes blazing with fire no age could dim. You cowards, she cried, you bow to a man who has stolen your sons, beaten your daughters, and filled our homes with fear. Today he hunts my child, tomorrow he will hunt yours. Will you still stay silent? Her words pierced them deeper than any blade. For the first time, the people of Al-Zahirah looked at one another and saw what they had become, slaves to fear. When Rashid and his men stormed into the village, they met not silence, but resistance. Farmers raised their hoes, smiths their hammers, women their stones. A sea of defiance rose against the Lord who had ruled their hearts for too long. Stand down, Rashid shouted, but the crowd roared back. No more! The first torch flew. His mansion, the symbol of his reign, burst into flames. Gold melted, walls crumbled, and the echoes of his screams faded beneath the roar of the people's freedom. When it was done, Layla and Amira stood at the edge of the fire, holding Jasmine close as dawn broke once more over the desert. But this time, it was not cruel. It was gentle, warm, and new. The villagers knelt before them, not out of fear, but respect. We are sorry, said one elder. We let fear make us blind. Amira, tears glistening in her eyes, shook her head. Then let this be the day you see. Fear dies when courage is born. Layla smiled down at her daughter, the Jasmine of the Desert, who cooed softly in the light. She will grow in a land that remembers, she said, a land that stands for what is right. Moreover, so Al-Zahirah changed, not through kings, but through courage, not through gold, but through the love of two women who refused to bow to cruelty. Even now, when the desert wind moves across the dunes, the people say it carries Layla's whisper. No fear shall rule where love still breathes. In the ashes of cruelty, courage found its breath again. Layla, Amira, and the child Jasmine, they were not warriors nor queens, but they carried something stronger than gold, the will to say no more. Remember this, my friends, fear only rules until the brave decide to rise. If this story touched your heart, share it. Let the message travel further than the dunes of Al-Zahirah. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Naratide Ug, where we keep the flame of storytelling alive.